800-348-1007. Or 800-348-1007.
Clevelanders are damn proud of their city. Cleveland! But come on, you were born here. He moved here.
This is a man that has endured real torture in a foreign setting.
So who's the real hero?
I would hope people would listen to our heroes.
Alan Cox.
On 100.7 WMMS.
Three 35192, want to shoot me a text, AlanCoxShow.com. Want to watch live there? You can. Thanks again to Hoopa Happernap for assisting in the video duties today. Cavaliers are off tonight. They lose last night to the Knicks. I saw a whole bunch of Knick fans downtown this morning. Must have been checking out of their hotel rooms and heading back home. Or maybe they live here. Maybe they're transplanted Knick fans. Who knows? But 107-98 was the final last night. Cavs stay at home. They're off tonight, but they'll play the Celtics tomorrow night at 7:30. You can hear all of it here on MMS. Your FM flagship home for Cleveland Cavaliers basketball. 100.7 WMMS. Tomorrow night, by the way, is Kelce bobblehead night. For people who, of course, Jason Kelce announced his retirement today from the NFL. Had his whole career with the Eagles, yes?
Yep.
And 13 years as a center, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But, of course, a lot of people don't know that these guys, he and Travis, played for the Cavaliers before they went on to illustrious football careers.
No.
And I'm sorry?
No, they
and
didn't.
so it makes sense that they would have the Kelce brothers bobblehead night tomorrow night. So if you're going to that Cavs Celtics game, you'll be able to scoop up one of the Kelce brothers bobbleheads. Them wearing Cavs jerseys, of course. Kelce's family in attendance at the press conference. His brother crying. That's why you wear the sunglasses. So people don't see you cry.
I was watching it as it was happening on ESPN, and he dropped an F-bomb, and it was pretty funny.
On the live broadcast.
Yeah, on the live broadcast.
Well, you got to expect that. I mean, you're going to know when a guy is announcing his retirement. It's a very emotional time. Mm-hmm. And he is a football player, and so, yes. It's probably going to happen. Of course, he thanked Eagles fans for allowing him to represent the city. And what do you do after this? They both played at Cincinnati, yeah?
They played at Cincinnati from Cleveland Heights. And
what?
They got the...
Those guys are from here?
They got the podcast. He's going to have probably some sort of broadcasting career, I imagine.
Jason Kelce will.
I think so.
Okay.
Or, he can just... He's made enough money, and also that... podcast that they do together is very popular, too. So he can do whatever he wants.
He's the older of the two?
Yeah.
Okay. He's got a Super Bowl ring.
Mm-hmm.
And
that he earned. He didn't just buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, he did earn it.
More breaking news.
Man, hold on.
Alan Cox Show. Exclusive news update.
Russell Wilson has just been released by the Broncos.
Huh.
What did he do?
Not much, apparently.
Good.
Yeah,
he didn't play football well. So
not enough for them.
They're going to have to... I don't know how that's going to work with his contract and stuff because he's got a massive contract.
Well, I guess they're going to pay him out.
Yeah.
He'll just be hanging at home with Sierra and doing whatever he's got to do.
Yeah, he's guaranteed $37 million.
Maybe he'll retire.
And the Broncos are still on the hook for $85 million in dead money. God.
Yeah. Maybe they'll grab Joe Flacco.
They already had him.
Oh, the Broncos did.
The Broncos had him once. Yeah. They're probably going to draft a quarterback.
All right, sir. Well, there you go. So Jason Kelce is out of the game. He holds the franchise record there in Philly for the most consecutive starts. The dude hadn't missed a game in 10 years. 157 consecutive starts. That's a... Now, it doesn't mention how many finishes. What is the franchise record for consecutive finishes?
I
wonder what that is, right?
I don't know if they
How many
keep
games
track of that.
I mean, there's all these other arcane stats in professional sports. You know, oh, there hasn't been another guy that's worn those color shoes in 18, 19 months. All you can, you know, we talk about data points. Boy, you can figure out anything you want to figure out. There's nobody, someone surely must have the record for most consecutive finishes. Somebody, I mean, you set the parameters, right? Somebody who has played the most last 5 minutes of a game consecutively. That guy has finished 157 games. He wasn't there at the beginning. He was there at the end. Who is that?
Well, usually if they're there at the beginning, they're there at the end. Like Joe Thomas has a record for most consecutive snaps. So he started and finished them.
But you might not be.
Well,
right? You might be a guy who went in halfway through.
And you're going to have to figure this stat out on your own.
This is what I'm saying.
Well,
I'm no statistician, but there's somebody
but you're the one that
there.
wants to know this, so you got to. I think it's up to you.
Well, I'm not going to do the work to find it out. Well, clearly, there's somebody who had. I mean, I didn't figure out that Jason Kelce held the franchise record. Somebody else had that information.
Right, but
I have to think
want this stat, and it doesn't exist yet.
We don't,
so
we don't know that.
We do know that.
We don't know that. There's all kinds of stats that I'm not hip to. Doesn't mean they don't exist.
Well, there's no...
A lot of things out there I don't know.
No one's paying attention to this one, I can tell you that much.
Well, you might be right. But there it is. Hey, Dean, hello.
Hey, how's it going, Alan?
Dean, how are you?
Good. How are you doing? It was great to meet you on Saturday.
Oh, Dean on Saturday. Yes. Were you the one on the date?
Yes, I was the one on the date.
Dean was on a date.
I had to fight the crowd to get to you.
With a girl. Yeah. Rub it in, Dean. They had me in an empty room. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, Dean was on a date with a girl who wore an Argyle sweater. I do remember that, right?
Classy.
Yes.
Smart.
Now, what did you guys do? You know, you're not 22-year-old kids. What did you guys do when you left? Did the party continue back at Casa Dean or what?
Party continued at Casa Mary.
All right. And are you two divorcees, or what's the situation? I didn't get into a whole big thing with you there because you guys were moving on. But the two of you were...
we're both, we're both divorcees. We both have kids. And like I said, when we were talking, we met at the speed dating event, which I ended up going to because I got... online dating can be brutal, and you get all these scams going on and everything, and it gets old. And so we tried that, and we met there, and let's went out and had a good time.
I would imagine, Dean, that speed dating is probably one of those things where you probably don't have a giant group to pull from as far as what you click with, right? You probably click with one or two people. You're like, you don't strike me as a psycho, so let's see if this works, right? It's not like you have to sit there and go, oh, man, do I like this one or that one or this one? You probably end up with one or two that you're like, okay, possibly, and then you kind of mentally flip a coin, right?
How much speed do you do?
All of it.
Right. That's exactly how that works out. You're only there for about a dozen people.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, Bill, you get 6 minutes, which goes by very fast, and you just kind of try to hit the main points. And
What were the main points that she hit with you? Her boobs?
No, it's I don't even remember. He went so fast. We're like, hey, so are you divorced? How long have you been divorced? Do you have any kids? Do you like animals and stuff like that? You know, it's the basic stuff. You know,
right.
It just kind of, and if it flows, it flows. If it doesn't, it goes by like molasses, and then you move on to the next table.
Yeah, that can be, even though it's theoretically speed dating. If it was somebody you're not clicking with, I would have to imagine that those seconds tick by very, very slowly. You're like, okay, let's see.
I mean, you know, within the first 20, 30 seconds, whether you're going to hit it off with that person.
Mm-hmm. All right, but you guys had a good time.
we had a good time, and it was a good night, and there's definitely going to be a second date. So I called to check in with you.
Well, I'm glad that you did. You know, I have a chart going on at home that I've just begun to track the trajectory of Dean and Mary's relationship, and it's my own little pet project. So I'm glad that. Well, nice to meet you guys, Dean, and good luck out there.
Thank you. Thank you. It was great to meet you, Alan.
All right, you too.
All right. The show. See you guys later.
Thank
Bye.
you, sir. There's Dean. Met him on Saturday night there at the Brew Garden. Greg and Corey had come out, had a nice conversation with them. And what? Who?
No, I was 2 months after I got my wedding called off in like 2017. My sisters and my cousin and I all went speed dating, and I had never been before. But this one was like, it was vodka soda speed dating.
Oh,
so there was, listen to this, there was no timer. Your drink was your timer. So based on how quickly, the vodka sodas cost $1, all right? There was a $10 cover for men, and it was free for women. But the vodka sodas each cost $1. And so depending on how quickly you drank your drink was how you would move on. So like if you sat down and you didn't like someone, you would chug your vodka soda and then you'd get up to go get another one. Because you're like, oh, my drink's empty. Sorry, I got to go. Or if you were like really hitting it off with somebody, you would sit there and kind of like enjoy your drink.
You'd
and,
sip
like,
seductively.
Yeah,
by the 10th one.
talk to one another. And I thought it was a funny concept. But it was cool. Like, I mean, there were very clearly people there who were like, I want to do this for $1 vodka sodas. And I was too heartbroken to actually try to find someone to match with, you know. But my sisters each left with like a number or two because they were like sitting and talking to the same guy for a couple minutes, like, oh, he was cute, blah blah. But there was such a lot. There was maybe 20 men, and the men stayed seated, and then the women would get up to go get their other drink, and there was a huge long line of women because you'd have to, once you finish your drink, you'd have to go back to the end of the line. And then they would pour you another drink once you got back to the front of the line. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you couldn't just be like chugging vodka sodas for $1. It was almost like the vodka soda was your entry into the speed dating part, and then you go sit with someone and see how well you got along. But that's the only time I've ever done any type of speed dating.
I've never done any speed dating.
We were hammered when we left.
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sure.
I believe it.
She slept in the tub that night. Like, that was a very, very drunk occasion. Sorry, Cody, go ahead.
Nothing. I was just gonna say I've never done speed dating. Like out of all the,
it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of fun.
It's kind of what bars are supposed to be, except people don't talk to each other that much. So it kind of forces everybody to socialize. So even if you don't make a match, you can at least say like, oh, at least talk to some more people and met some people and had that experience.
There was one guy who had him like, he looked just like Pitbull. He was bald. He had sunglasses on inside, and he was wearing a fur coat. And we were all like, what is this Pitbull?
Mr. Citywide.
Yeah. Like, where does he think he is? He had a rotating door of women. I don't think he sat with anybody for more than a couple minutes at a time.
There you go. I got a letter from Darnell. So, silver lining, we know Darnell's not dead, but I mentioned at the top of the show that we found out that Jenna has died, who was a regular caller to this program. She was part of a band there in Youngstown called the Feral Cats. And we found out that Jenna has passed away. I guess she had a brain tumor, is what Darnell says. Darnell is very close to her. She was 36 years old. You know, it's hard to tell how old or young people are. We never, maybe I asked her that at some point. I don't remember. I don't know that I would have presumed to ask her that. But Darnell sent me a, Darnell dictates his communications with me. And so he wrote me a letter to tell me that Jenna had passed away. And that obviously he's very sad, but he wanted to let me know. And I was just like, well, I'm glad you're okay. Because, obviously, he's like, I still listen all the time. I don't communicate with the show as much as I would, previously.
It's good to know that he's okay and
he's fine. Yeah, that's right. He's doing well. Again, we have no connective tissue with a lot of these people. So when somebody does pass away, we have no way of knowing. we don't have a running emergency contact list with people. But Darnell says he's doing fine. He's still working on lyrics for a variety of songs he's working on. He's put a gospel song together. Of course, so but he and Jenna were tight. You know, they're both. The Feral Cats was a group of people, with a variety of physical disabilities, and they would go out and play shows. And their Facebook page had changed their profile picture to Jenna's picture, and they were all a listener got me hit to this right before the show started today that she had passed away. So again, silver lining. I'm glad Darnell is okay. Sad for him, sad for her family. But Darnell, of course, number 25 on the Alan Cox Show blacklist. He's an early adopter. But anyway. He was writing to let me know, and we already had that information, of course, but I'm glad to hear that he's doing all right. Well, we just kind of touched on it briefly before the last break, but how did Poundcake working your door go?
He
worked the door at your comedy show?
Yeah, he did a fantastic job in Willoughby at Garage Bar, had a great crowd. He did a great job of checking people in. And
now, what were his duties? He would see their name on the list and say, yes, you're supposed to be here.
He learned something about the app that I use that I didn't even know about. So you could just swipe to check people in as it went. But
I poke and prod and figure out things.
Yeah. You tell him what you did.
Well, no, I just went to my workstation, and he had everything set up on like
workstation.
It is a workstation. If you're working at the door and you're checking people in, you have a station where I'm supposed to be. So he just pointed me into the direction of the
like
iPad.
A little high top table, and then you check people in.
Something like that, yeah. And
with an iPad and
the Square, which I've never used before, but it's super easy. So literally, forget an OnlyFans, just like strip for people and just take the little Square app and do it that way. That's how you get your money. But at any rate, it was fine. Bill. I mean, not that I thought it wouldn't be a huge turnout, but, like, these people came in droves. Like, people had, like, groups of 10, groups of 15. I'm like, Jesus. They're like, yeah, I'm with so-and-so. I'm like, oh, you're with that party. Like, they had the whole back of, like, the venue. It was just, like...
People in Willoughby are ready to rock, man.
They are. They're, like, super ready to party.
And the people that run Garage Bar did a great job. They had everything set up. They just such a fun night because, I mean, doing anything at a bar... Things can go one way or another, but that's why I love Garage Bars because they take care of me and like took care of everything. They did such a good job, and I bought a bunch of new stuff to do. Like I put up I got a curtain that I bring on the road with me for when I do shows at bars like that, and I got a new spotlight, and that stuff all worked well. And
do you come out from behind the curtain?
No, there was a green
room, darling.
Well, it's a storage closet, but they set it up like your green room.
It's big enough to be a green room.
It was nice. No, it's got like a bench and chairs.
But the curtain is just for a backdrop?
Yeah, just for a backdrop, so you're not standing in front of dartboards.
Right.
But it was
Is
great.
it a curtain that looks like a brick wall?
No, it's just black curtain.
Yeah.
But the crowd was great. Had so much fun.
God, I haven't been.
All the comics did well. It was a good time. And then I did my reverse crowd work show last night, Hilarities. Mary asked a great question on that. Had a lot of fun with that.
What was Mary's question?
She did F, Marry, Kill with I-71, I-90, and 480.
She asked that of you as you were on stage.
As I was on stage.
We sent in. I sent in a video.
Yeah.
And he played it at Hilarities. That was my. Let's see what you can do.
I had Mary do a question. I had Kyle Kinane do a question. Roy Wood Jr. He sent me 2. His were fun. And then Chad Daniels, but we didn't get to the one that Chad Daniels had because it was also the heaviest one that wasn't really going to elicit a very funny response. But it was great. Like both shows were
Poundcake
great.
didn't start nothing.
No, he did a great job.
Well, what would I start?
I'm just asking a question. Anything can pop off when people are drinking. And
he was customer service Cody. He was not Poundcake. He was customer service
He was
Cody.
helpful Brown.
He was helpful Brown. He checked everybody in. We sold a few extra tickets at the door, even though it was technically sold out. We made some room for.
I mean,
people.
you did pay him to do that,
Yeah.
so we can't like pat him on the back for doing what you asked him to do.
I gave him extra money because he did such a good job and stayed a little bit longer than I originally said.
And people
got a 2-for-1 at that show. They got to meet Poundcake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people were telling me how cute I look and how skinny I was. I was like, oh.
What were you wearing?
Just a 2-1-6 shirt from Cleveland Clothing Company.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Oh, you did a great job.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Like I said, it wasn't. It's not the hardest job, but everybody comes in right at once.
It can be overwhelming.
It's a lot of
the run. Yeah, it was like the stampede.
The pace of it is insane.
The running of the bulls, is that what they call it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you.
And then there were plenty of people that showed up at the door like, oh, we didn't know we had to get tickets in advance, and we were able to make that all work. So it was a lot of fun. And yeah, no one talked through the sets. They were all.
Your opener was really funny.
Great.
What was his name?
So there's Zach Welch.
Zach Welch. That's who I stayed and watched for.
Okay, yeah, he's a very funny guy. He did one joke that it hit so hard, it almost derailed the rest of his set because they liked that joke so much. And it was
he was pretty funny.
Him, and then
he must have been cute though if Poundcake was paying attention to him.
He was okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was good looking, but
he's newly single.
Is he gay?
Yeah.
He is gay, yeah.
He's gay as hell.
Very gay.
Super duper gay. You know,
I would love to get sucked
the
up.
stories he tells me, I'm like, oh boy. I thought I was pushing boundaries with Poundcake, but then I hear Zach's stories.
I already know he's not my type because if he didn't pursue me, then that's not my type.
Oh.
Yeah, boy. He wants him to push in his boundary.
People were like, did you talk to him?
I would love to get sucked up.
Why?
Like, well, you were working and he was working, so there wasn't a lot of time for you guys to really converse with each other.
People make time if they really were on it.
Why didn't you make time for him?
He didn't make time
He
for
was
me.
on stage.
This guy. Why not after? Why didn't you talk to him after?
I didn't stay the whole time.
Poundcake left.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he didn't stay.
Let me watch you poop.
I'm just saying. I know my type because my type wouldn't allow me to not be his type. Like he would pursue me.
Maybe you need a different type. Maybe you need to start pursuing other people.
I can control what gets
me
all horned up.
Why are you waiting for other people to do things? Why don't you just take the reins? Why don't you control your own destiny, Poundcake? You're the captain of your own ship.
But when it comes to a partner, I like certain things.
Hey, boy. I've got to take a break. If you want to send a text, 35192, AlanCoxShow.com for everything else.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you go on our free iHeartRadio app. Rover's Morning Glory.
Jeffrey, if you had gone to college, what fraternity would you